Moody. Now, Kate, staying with our top story, Ukraine looks like it's really needing some financial aid currently.
Yeah, and it's getting much closer to it now. The International Monetary Fund has said that it is ready to consider Kiev's call for an international lifeline. The new Prime Minister has said the country needs some $35 billion in international assistance. State reserves have already shrunk to less than $18 billion. Now, the US has said that it'll guarantee $1 billion in loans, the EU about $1.5 billion. Now, the IMF hasn't mentioned specific amounts of how much it might be willing to lend, but it says it will be sending a team to launch preliminary negotiations. And it amounts to what really seems to be a de facto recognition of that fledgling interim government. Here's the IMF spokesman.
We can work with transition governments, we can work with interim governments, and the issue for us is a government that is internationally recognized, and we have no reason to believe that the recognition is an issue in this case.
Amid those developments, we saw Ukraine's currency hitting a 10-year low on Thursday. Switzerland said that it would, in theory, be ready to freeze any assets owned by deposed President Viktor Yanukovych, anything that he might hold in Swiss banks. Move on to the markets now. On Wall Street, we saw the S&P 500 hitting a new record high on Thursday, crossing that key level of 1,850. That takes it into positive territory for the year. Asian markets aren't doing quite as well this Friday. We're seeing a pretty mixed picture there at the moment, although the Nikkei is down over 1%. This despite some pretty strong data about Japan's economy. Factory output rose 4% in January. That's its fastest pace in 4 years. Core inflation rose 1.3%. That's close to a 5-year high. Analysts suggesting that despite that positive trend, the world's third largest economy may still need some extra help when a 3% tax hike takes effect this April.
Okay, well, away from the markets, Kate, there are some surprisingly good figures coming out of Brazil, aren't there?
Yeah, Brazil's economy grew an unexpected 0.7% at the end of last year. It doesn't seem like a huge amount, but it is a surprise for analysts. The economy shrunk in the third quarter, and many economists had predicted that it would eventually fall into recession. But it managed to avoid that thanks to strong consumer spending and investment. It means that overall growth for 2013 was actually pretty solid at around 2.3%. It gives a much-needed boost to President Dilma Rousseff as she seeks re-election in October. And the finance minister said that even the government was surprised by the uptick.
If there hadn't been these challenges with the world economy, we would have grown more, taking advantage of our domestic market, but also our external one with the growth of our exports.
Okay, shifting to Italy now, the capital is really staring bankruptcy in the face.
Yeah, Rome is facing an €816 million budget deficit. The mayor said that he might resign if he doesn't get the funds he needs. Delano De Souza has the story.
The Eternal City is badly in need of cash. Officials in Rome are scrambling after Italy's new prime minister withdrew an aid plan. It was meant to cover a shortfall of €816 million in the city's budget. The plan would have ensured basic city services. Meanwhile, Rome's mayor threatens to bring the city to a standstill if there's no solution by Sunday.
We've been asking for standards that would put Rome's administration on a better track. For decades, the Roman administration has been spending a huge amount of money that wasn't actually available.
Without money from the central government, the mayor will be faced with unpopular choices like trimming salaries of city workers and increasing property and income taxes. Italian politicians say Rome should sell its assets. The city owns a 51% stake in utility company ACEA worth €1.8 billion. The mayor wants €485 million in compensation for Rome's role as capital, major tourist hub and seat of the Vatican. Matteo Renzi has pledged to keep spending on a tight leash. The mayor turned prime minister will have to quickly come up with a plan if he wants to avoid Rome going bankrupt under his watch.
And it's a pretty daring computer hack. British man has been charged with hacking into the computer system of the Federal Reserve. Tell us more.
Yeah, a man called Laurie Love, who's already in police custody in the UK, is accused of infiltrating the computer system of the US Central Bank and disclosing the personal information of the people who use those computers. He's also believed to have breached security at agencies including NASA and the FBI. Now, the fallout from his hacking is estimated at a pretty hefty $3.7 million. Nearly half of that was spent to set up a call center to help the people affected by that data breach. A campaign has already been started in the UK to fight any possible extradition bid by the US.
All right, Kate, well, thank you very much for that business update. It's always lovely having you with us. OK, now it's time for a look at what's grabbing the headlines here in